Hey guys, welcome to our final panel here at the Digital Exchange 2020. I'm Nikhil Chinapa, and joining us on this final panel to talk about how people can think out of the box and whether COVID-19 can inadvertently have become a teacher of sorts for us to learn to innovate are two of my closest friends in the entertainment world and just outside the entertainment world as well. Ankur Tiwari and Gaurav Kapur. Guys, for those of you who don't know who you are and have been living under a rock for a very long time, quick introduction. Ankur, why don't you go first?
I'm a singer-songwriter, musician, storyteller, and very famous in Bandra in Bombay.
Yes, extremely, extraordinarily famous in Bandra, especially on the lane that you live on.
Yeah, correct.
The fruit seller, the bhaji seller, the milkman, they all know Ankur.
That's my zone. Even GK lives in my lane, so.
Okay.
Like in fact, you see, if I'm going to extend my hand like this, it's going to enter his frame.
Damn it, that's spooky. Okay, Gaurav, quick introduction.
Hi, I'm Gaurav Kapur and I live in Ankur Tiwari's lane.
You know that we have people from outside of India also watching this show, so it would be good to tell people what you've been doing for the past 20 odd years of your life.
So that's what this half an hour is going to be about. Bye. Okay, I'll quickly tell you guys, I'm a television presenter, sports broadcaster, producer, investor and entrepreneur. I'm also a storyteller and I live in Ankur Tiwari's lane.
Excellent. Okay, so actually most of the panels that we've had during the exchange have spoken about in some shape, form or the other, about how COVID-19 has impacted people's lives, impacted the gig industry, impacted the way people do business, impacted the way people consume entertainment as well. And I know that the two of you were actually very quick off the blocks in trying to innovate in your own spheres of life. So Ankur, we'll start with you first. You started a Patreon page. I'm not sure whether I'm pronouncing that right. Patreon.
I'm the wrong person to ask this. I'm just using the page.
Patron. Yes, that's the... But tell us what that page does and what prompted you to make that move.
See, like as I said, I'm a singer-songwriter, and being an independent musician, singer-songwriter in India, you can only survive if you are a survivor. I've been doing that since 1998, and not that I want to compare this pandemic to anything else before, but life of an independent musician always in this country has been like you have to survive somehow, and you have to find a way to get over the obstacle. There's no time to mull over or like get upset, sad, depressed about things. So when this happened, immediately I realized that we're not going to be able to move out of our homes for a while, indoors, and hence I decided that I should try a few ventures online and try and see what are the things online where one can eventually try to kind of make money to pay your rent.
Yeah, but there's also a lesson to be learned from Patreon, because Patreon talks directly to your super fans, and an artist like Ankur Tiwari will have a sizable number of super fans, and it allows you to engage with them and allows them to engage with you, and the rewards work both ways. They reward you financially, you reward them with exclusive content.
Which is very interesting because in today's day and age of social media, that kind of like exclusive content, if you may call it, has kind of vanished. Everyone's lives are open to everyone. The kind of like romance of mystery is kind of vanishing. So I feel that is something very interesting about Patreon, because you can share stuff there that you're not going to share elsewhere. And hence what has happened is that now if I have something to share, I can think about it, that whether it's better to be shared on Patreon or should I share it on platforms that are open to everyone.
So it gives your super fans access to content from you, whether it's lyrics that you're working on, a tune that you're composing, or an album cover, or an artwork that you're working on that isn't seen by anybody else outside of that page and your page, right?
And also you're very comfortable sharing it with them because they have really put their money behind you. So
yes.
you know that. Yeah.
I'm one of your fans of Patreon.
So you feel that, you feel that they do care. So it's not like a random follower on Instagram, or not that they are random, but they don't, people on Twitter, people on Instagram, they're not paying to follow you. They are just there. So they have all the right to abuse you and be critical of you. Some of them are following you just to do that. So when somebody is paying you on Patreon, you know that you better give them something interesting and exclusive.
It's also it's like a velvet rope, like a VIP section. Everybody has it, right? I mean, in real life, we've all experienced that. The more you pay, the more you'll get in a simple way, right? So that works really well on Patreon, which is, and it's rare, right? Because the last 10 years with burgeoning content, what happens is that people have got too used to consuming for free, saying, why should I pay for anything when everything is just...
Especially entertainment. Especially entertainment.
Yes. I mean, we Indians want everything free. Like I used to have this joke, say, when people used to just give away like coasters, it's such a small thing. I'm like, yeah, is janta mein tum thappad bhi doge free mein, wo bhi le lenge. Right? So there used to be that thing back like 20 years ago, that 10 years ago that happened with content, with especially video and audio, saying, why should I pay? And then that's when advertising saw that space and just sort of went all in. And then when it went all in, it suddenly became too intrusive. And then a few discerning people, your front row people, said, hang on, I'm willing to pay a little bit of money to get an experience that's slightly more exclusive, slightly more tailor-made for me. And that's what they do. Like in Ankur's case, all the super fans, like all the people who are in the front row on every gig that you go to, the ones that are happy when he sings and they're throwing dentures and walkers at him, happily. So it's... Like that's my key demographic.
Their grandma's knickers because she couldn't come for the concert.
Yeah. That's my key demographic as well. Kind of kids before their teenage years and people after 75.
Listen, so hang on a second. So Ankur is an artist that's in a great place in India right now because he's an independent artist that has super fans. Okay, but what does an artist who doesn't do super fans do? I think what COVID is going to teach them to do is try and figure out how they can innovate in order to cater to a subset of fans that is interested in a curated experience, in getting behind the velvet rope, in getting backstage with their favorite artists, right?
Listen, with his, let's just 1 second rewind it a bit. He has super fans because of the work that he's done, the gigs he's played when he started in his career in really sort of dodgy locations. Sort of, paying your own money to record your first thing. He's paid his dues, right? When you pay your dues and you don't fall like Ankur said, he's a survivor. So you keep going. And that's when you reach a place where people appreciate not just the art, but also the journey of the artist. And that's why you're there, right? All of us like, Dylan and Springsteen and Sting, not just for every track that they bring out, but also because of the journey that they've had, which they've sort of taken us along on. And we, at that time, the velvet rope was for us buying that CD or buying that cassette in the pre-internet era, right? So similarly, these are all people who've he's paid his dues. So with a new artist right now, they also have to figure out a way to pay their dues. You can't just say...
I mean, that's why I compared it to the earlier thing for no disrespect to people who are not going through a good time because of COVID-19. But the problems are there in an independent artist's lives at all times. When we started playing, there were no venues, there was no music festivals, there was nothing, but we stuck around and we said that we're going to find a way, which is again something very similar happening now. Is you got into your comfort zone where you thought that you're going to get your X number of gigs every month, you're going to have those like corporate gigs, and you have those college festivals, you have those ad films, you have the movie things, and now suddenly when you're in that comfort zone, snap, and it goes away. So you kind of get reminded of the same thing that kind of happened when you were trying to make music in the beginning.
I try and tell people this, that working hard doesn't mean going the extra mile at things that you're good at or things that you enjoy doing. Working hard means going the extra mile at things that you hate doing and things that you would rather not be doing, right? And I'll use the roadies and MTV roadies analogy over here because we keep getting contestants who say, "Sir, main kabhi give up nahi karta hu." And the question that we ask them is that, where have you ever been in a situation where you've had the choice to give up or not give up? Because adding on an extra 10 pounds on the barbell and doing 2 extra curls is not the definition of, I don't give up, sir. Main kabhi give up nahi karta. You've never been in a life or death situation where giving up would mean that you would lose something significant in your life.
But I'll bring the conversation to an interesting point in Gaurav's life, for instance, when he had done his share of hosting for television for really long as a VJ. In fact, both of you for the longest time had that thing of you were not called Nikhil Chinapa or Gaurav Kapur, they were called VJ Gaurav and VJ Nikhil. Or sometimes
we both did the same show. We both did the dial-in show where people called up and requested songs.
But I remember the phase in Gaurav's life where he had done enough of that and he wanted to reinvent himself. And maybe Gaurav can talk about it. It was an amazing phase where he really literally gave everything up and started once again from scratch.
Yeah. In fact, for a brief moment in time, Gaurav actually managed me. For a very brief moment in time.
You're right.
You tried that.
That was 6 months when I quit Channel V. And if you just go back to that, people thought I was really stupid because I was getting a lot of money at the time to do very little work. And I was senior, so I could send the junior VJs around to shoots that I didn't want to do. I could easily give up, by the way, and not put those extra 10 pounds. In fact, I could take out 100 pounds from the barbell and say, I won't go send that person. And they would send them. And I think challenges just stopped happening. And that's when I said that I don't really want to do this anymore. It's not making me happy. It's making me too comfortable. And there's no challenge. What's the point of being in your 20s and doing something that's easy? So that's when I quit. And I literally did nothing for a year except just upskill myself. So I was trying to learn. I was attacking things from different ways. I was meeting anybody who had even produced one small 2 lakh rupee music video. I would meet them, buy them a coffee, I'd take a register or a notebook. And I said, I can't go to a film school. I can't learn how to produce, 1 year somewhere. Let me just put with the friends that I have, with the people I know who've got real experiences.
Yeah.
And then added to that, one of the things was, of course, when I was speaking with you once and I figured that you had this really haphazard manner of doing business where somebody was being charged $100 and somebody was $200 and somebody was $50. I'm like, why is there no, the analytical side of my brain said this
that hasn't changed.
Yeah. So that's when I said, let me manage you. And for 6 months, I was managing you. I remember that, where calls used to come to me saying, is Nikhil Chinapa's date available? And how much will you charge? And if I remember, I don't know if I pat myself on the back, but I think I took your per show rate up 2x from what you were quoting before.
You did. We did a deal together for a television commercial that kind of fructified really well.
Yeah,
that's it. Yeah. But anyway, listen, I wanna talk about Oaktree and what you're doing there, because the IPL is a very big part of your life, and it's a very big part of my life as well, because I'm a huge RCB fan, and RCB this year has had a brilliant season. They haven't lost a single game, which I'm very happy about. It's been excellent. Never had such a good season ever in the history of the IPL. RCB, way to go. Very happy with you. But your entire, the Breakfast with Champions, the stuff that you do around the IPL, the hosting, the online content that you do with CricBuzz and as well, all of that had to kind of be reinvented.
Yes.
And how did you have done a certain amount of reinvention there?
Yes, we really, really suffered a lot because our lead up to the IPL, so not just Breakfast with Champions, we also were making a documentary with Delhi Capitals. We do a lot of content with Mumbai Indians. We do just a lot of content around the IPL as Oaktree Sports, which I produce. And then, of course, I present for CricBuzz. So another thing I did 3 years ago was I moved my career completely away from linear broadcast television to online digital internet, right? And that's what I decided, because I figured that that's the future. So we sort of moved on it about 3 years ago. What is happening at this point in time? That's a different story. The fact is, we were doing 4 or 5 projects. We had staffed up. We had 35, 40 people who had come in as just ahead of our core team of 25. We had another 10, 15 freelancers. So we're all sort of raring to go, all guns firing. And then suddenly we get the rug pulled from beneath us. So first, what happens is that it, of course, destroys our revenue projections, our runway. It hits just everything. Obviously, we had to do the humane thing and send the people we had got on as freelance for these 3 months of the IPL-related projects. Even though they just joined the team, etc., we still wanted to make sure we do severance and we don't just say, sorry, we're done and you go. Now, to do that, and without dipping in our savings, we said, wait, we can't just shut her down. We still got to make content. But do I make an Instagram live? Hang on, everybody's doing it. You go to Instagram, you've got 17 red circles before you can see anyone's story.
It's bizarre, man. I think Instagram needs to reinvent itself.
Worst user experience, according to me. because it's glitchy, it keeps failing. One person's face is covered with comments, which everyone is ignoring. So I don't get it. So we said, we don't, I remember Ankur and me were chatting about it. So he said, will you do it on live? And I said, no, man, I don't want to do it on live. We're trying to figure out how we can record it on Zoom, just like we're doing it right now.
Yeah.
And that's when we came up with this idea of Isolation Premier League, which was, let's ask these guys 20 questions about their own career and their own achievements and celebrate them that way and get the good stories out and do it on Zoom. And we just literally spoke about it. And 72 hours later, we had the first episode up. So luckily, the team was motivated enough to do that. And now we're doing 2 or 3 more shows during, because this lockdown period is going to be a long one.
It's going to be a long, yeah.
Live sport is not starting for a while. So we're taking out a lot of the ideas from our archive. See, what happens is that we were being reactive in the last 1 year. Projects would come, we'd do them. Now, with nothing happening, we actually had a chance of being proactive. So we said, let's just shake that idea tree. Let's just bring the ideas that we had at the back of the godown. Bring them out, repurpose them. Can we do it as infographics? Can we do it just voiceover? Can we do it as sketch animation? How can we do it with archival footage that we have so much of? So that's what the team is now thinking and innovating and figuring out how to sort of put this together and innovate for, new times.
I think that's a really important lesson because right now there's a whole bunch of people across different categories, genres, dispositions in different industries, trying desperately to try and go online and not being able to figure out how they should do it. And I think the point that you made of revisiting some of the ideas that you had in the past, whether they're online ideas or not, just taking a deep breath and saying, hang on a second, this phase is going to pass at some point in time. And work that used to happen at 100 rupees may restart again at a value of 10 or 15 rupees, and we'll be ready for it when it does. But just to say to yourself, that of all the things that I've done in my life, what can I tap into? What skill of mine can I tap into? And how can I make that into something productive in this phase? And I think that's what you need to do more than try and desperately get onto Instagram and go live. And I want to get both of your opinions on this as well. What advice would you give to people who are struggling to make sense of their lives and their careers now, especially in the artistic world or in the gig world or in the content production world? What should they be doing right now over the next week, month, 2 months? Ankur?
I mean, for me, it is a very good time to kind of slow down because we've always been in such a rush that, we don't really chew and eat and digest our food. We've been like just kind of gobbling it down, which I call mental obesity, like obesity of the brain, because you're just putting things in and not digesting. So for me as an artist, an amazing time because I've already written 3 or 4 songs. It's time to introspect. It's time to think about things. I remember these lines by Leonard Cohen was a song like, I'm slowing down the tune. I never liked it fast. You want to get there soon. I want to get there last.
Nice.
And I think that the rush is something that takes the taste away from the art altogether. And I think it's a good lesson for us to follow the rhythm of nature and slow down and like Gaurav said, be more proactive and really revisit things that you're doing because you feel them rather than doing because they were things to do, but that you're not even thinking and you're doing things. So I feel very good right now that way as an artist.
Yeah, I think it's important for whatever people are going to attempt to do, for it to come from an authentic place within themselves, and for them not to do something just because somebody else is doing it and they're successful at it. And I think they'll probably find far more success doing something that they resonate with or they're comfortable with it, and working on that craft or skill and taking that forward or taking that places. Gaurav, do you have any thoughts for people who are trying to figure things out?
I want to say that first of all, it's a pandemic. It's not a productivity contest, right? I feel a lot of people are getting this whole keeping up with the Joneses. Somebody is doing 5 lives, I must do 7. No, it's not. You don't have to learn 2 new languages. You don't have to, find 3 theories in quantum physics. You don't, right? First of all, there are 2 things. One is a physical need and one is an emotional need, right? Now, physical need is the rent that you need to pay, the food that you need to eat. If you're running a company, the 5 employees that you need to pay. You don't need to get greedy on that. You just have to say, all right, let me calm down. Let me slow down. Let me find one of my old ideas. Let me figure out a way. How can I put food on my company table? If I have 3 people employed, 5, 300, whatever, what's the bare minimum that I need? It's frugal, right? Do I need a 10% pay cut? How do I meet these people's demands? So that's one. The second is personally, if you slow down, I think what Ankur said was beautiful, like chew your food. I find myself doing that a lot more these days as well. There's no, habada dabadi. There's no, running all the time. Calm down, slow down. No good idea, no great idea came from, a guy who was just playing his limbs in a treadmill complex all day, right? So don't do that. You're on a treadmill. Don't do it. Just slow down, get off that treadmill, just look around you and find some of your old ideas. Isolation Premier League was an idea that I had 3 years ago of doing a show called Power Play, where I asked each cricketer 6 questions about their own career, whether they remembered it or not, which I got from a conversation with Sachin Tendulkar, because he remembers each of his 100 centuries. And I thought that is amazing. Like, how do you remember? He's got 100 centuries. 100.
It's amazing.
He goes, I scored 100. He'll tell you the ground, the bowler, it was 110 of 84 balls. He'll tell you the wind, the weather, everything. So I just thought it's so fascinating that you remember this, because I don't even remember something I said a week ago. Obviously, I'm, not that I'm comparing myself with Sachin Tendulkar.
No, but Sachin is a very good example, because if you look at his career, and that's why he's such an amazing sports person, because I think he reinvented his career at least 4 times.
Yeah.
Once he got a tennis elbow, then he got a back problem, then this and that. So the best batsman of the world remained the best batsman in the world for a long time, and in that he reinvented himself at least 3 times or 4 times. If I'm like, Gaurav would know it better, but
yeah, okay, when he was made opener,
we're digressing, boys. We're digressing.
This happens, Nikhil. Whenever you and I talk, it ends up going to cricket. But anyway, coming back, the idea is that know the difference between your physical needs and your emotional needs, and tend to both. And don't get greedy with your physical needs. I think this is a great time for the entire planet, not just in terms of work, but in terms of the things you consume, what you read, what you eat, what you wear, everything. I think we're realizing that you could be a lot more frugal than modern advertising had made us believe.
Okay. Both of you are also involved in Commune. You're 2 of the founders of Commune along with Roshan. And has there been an uptick in sort of spoken word content that you've seen during the Corona era?
I mean, definitely there's been a lot of, because spoken word is also a convenient. Is Gaurav still there? Oh yeah. Because spoken word is a kind of a convenient art form in terms of expressing yourself with the limitations that we have right now. The power of the word can scream through a screen much better than the note right now, which can get distorted through the speakers or the microphones that we're using. So there definitely is a lot more poetry coming out, a lot more spoken word coming out, a lot more stories coming out. So we've seen that it's an interesting statistic.
Yeah, though I have an alternate theory with that as well, because we were discussing a few numbers. Now, as you know, that in video content, especially when you release short form or the kind of content that we make, even if it's long form, all the sort of embedded players will tell you there's enough research that says that the best time to release a video is actually Monday at 12 noon or at 1 p.m. And that just defies common sense. You say, why then? It's because everybody's in school, college, and office, and they don't really want to do that. So this is what they want to do. They want to escape from that and watch something. My theory, I told my team the other day that, mark my words, as soon as people go back to work, our viewership of the content we're creating right now will also go up. They said, go up? But why? I said, because right now, no one's watching, everyone's creating. Everyone's become a creator. Everybody has a jhadu video on TikTok or utensils video on Instagram, Boomerang. Everybody's a content maker right now. So jokes apart, that also means for people who are actually in the business of creating content, you have to think of the user experience. For me, the reason why we didn't do the show live is because I want to give the user an experience which is as close to it being shot on cameras in terms of sound, in terms of visual, in terms of graphics. So that's why we figured that doing it on Zoom we treat the sound, we put background music. So we can't go to someone's house to shoot, but let's try to bring that experience as close
as
to
close as possible. Yeah, it's something that I've been saying as well. You've got to give people a reason to want to watch, whether they watch it live or whether they watch it, 6 hours later, 6 days later. In my opinion, it's irrelevant. You still have to give people a reason to watch, and when they come to watch, you've got to give them a great experience. And I think people are missing the point, and they're just saying, "Oh, we've got to go live, we've got to go live, we've got to do it now."
And it's going to be timeless. Listen, man, I always think the best content is timeless. You can watch Seinfeld even today. You can watch Shawshank Redemption, or you can listen to, the Beatles even today. You can listen to, like, for example, Ankur's song, Sabse Piche Hum Khade, he wrote, 15 years ago, 16 years ago?
And 20.
Yeah. 20 years ago. It's still...
I still love that. I still love that whistle.
So while you're tempted at this point in time to make that Jhadu Pocha video, yes, still think what is timeless. Human stories are timeless. So invest in those. Just that's what I'm saying. You have to make it beyond what the whole world is doing, which is plucking the low-hanging fruit.
Thanks a lot, guys. I hope people who've been watching this have got something have taken something away that they can reflect upon and kind of put into action in their own lives as well. Ankur and Gaurav, it's been a pleasure. I look forward to catching up with the two of you.
Someone's taken my wine bottle away, bro. I just have the cork left.
And for everybody else who's been a part of the Digital Exchange 2020, all our partners, all our friends, all the panelists, all the moderators, all the artists, thank you for being a part of the Digital Exchange 2020. And we're going to end this with a little bit of music. Ankur, if you can do that whistle, make us all very happy to sign us out of this final panel here at the Exchange.
That's
Love it. And by the way, the question that's on everybody's mind, whose house is that coil outside of? It's not my house.
So that's my house.
That's your house? Oh.
There are two coils that come in the tree here.
Actually, I want to leave people with this question. What is the face you make when somebody amongst your group is singing? I don't think I've still mastered that. I still have that really awkward face when somebody's singing. Like, how do you react?
You look into your phone.
Yeah, just go. And especially if someone's singing a slow song. And then those people do the awkward out of tune click.
Or you wear glasses like I do. Nobody knows what you're looking at.
That's the trick, bro. That's the one.
We do need to leave. You know that, right? We do need to go now.